All right, greetings and salutations, everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host, once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for joining us here today, Lions Talk Live, Sunday edition. And you know what? Hey, it's St. Patty's Day outside, but inside, we're talking about the NFC North. We're going to break down a little bit and get your guys' thoughts and input on what's happened with the Detroit Lions, the Minnesota Vikings, the Chicago Bears, and yes, the Green Bay Packers. Hey, free agency is a weekend, more or less, and I think we can all agree the Lions have been fairly aggressive in it. Have they been, my question, the most aggressive team in the NFC North? I think there's some real debate for that. Um, Unless you didn't know already, here, let me break some news for you. Justin Fields will no longer be the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears. As of, I don't know, somewhere around 6 o'clock last night, he was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a sixth round pick in 2025. Yes, there are some terms within that could elevate it to a fourth round pick. But I'm going to say this: the Bears. I'm going to go on a limb and say they're showing their cards. They're coming out and saying, hey, they're going to draft a quarterback with the number one overall pick, and good for them. I mean, if that's the route they want to go, that's the route they're going to go. I know I've made my stance for a couple months now that if I was running the Bears, I would have kept the Justin Fields. Would have continued to add around him, which they have. They've added some nice key parts, and I would have tried to trade that draft pick for quite a bit of a haul to try to continue to build the team. That's not the way they want to go. It'll be interesting to see what you guys as Lions fans have to say and how you're reacting to the news about Justin Fields. The Minnesota Vikings, most of you are probably aware, they did a trade a couple days ago to acquire a second first-round pick. Does this show indication they're going to try to trade up to get a quarterback in the draft? Are they just going to wait their spots and get somebody? Sam Darnold, hey, that's going to be their probably starting quarterback for the majority of the upcoming season, if not all of it. You know what? He's got a reputation for being a Lions killer, so let's hope we can break that curse. All right, without further ado, though, before we get into the rest of the video, if you are not subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're about, hold on, let me check here real quick. We're about 14 subs away from hitting 6,100. So if you're out there and you're willing to do so, please consider subscribing. Also, if you enjoyed the video and the content there within, don't be afraid to hit the thumbs up button. Last but never least, outside of being a YouTuber and a coach, I am a realtor. Have been since the early 90s. Work all across the state of Michigan. Work in all sorts of different fields within it. So vacant land, farmland, vacation houses, rentals, flip houses, whatever your needs are in the field of real estate. If you're looking for someone to help you save some money, either on the purchase or sale of property, give me a call, shoot me a text. Let's see if I can help you out. You see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. And let me put over 30 years of service within the industry to your behest. All right, let's go ahead and get going with the show now. My thoughts are just real quick before we get to your comments. Let's talk about the teams real quick and maybe give you guys a little bit more detailed information. Detroit, obviously, we know they won the North last year, 12-5. Re-signings, hey, Glasgow, Reeves Maben, Mosley, Dan Skipper, Dorsey, Zonovan Knight, and Scott Daly. Scott Daly being the long snapper. Now, as far as additions to the team, we probably already know, but just to recap, DJ Reader, Carlton Davis, Davenport, and Robertson, just mostly beefing up the defense, or I guess to be fair, all those are defensive players. Now, as far as the losses the Lions have encountered, Jonah Jackson, Garner Johnson, Anthony Pittman. So the team is going to look very much like it did last year. You've only lost 3 guys. Pittman, hey, while he played and he was on the team, not a huge name. Garner Johnson missed the vast majority of the season. So again, even though he was on the team, he was on a limited basis. Jonah Jackson, that's going to be the one that stands out, I think, to most fans. And I think most fans are going to say somewhere either in free agency or the draft, we've got to look to replace him. Go to Green Bay, 9-8 record. They lost Nixon, one of their cornerbacks. A.J. Dillon is a running back for, it seems like, forever. Ballenstein, Corey Ballenstein, another cornerback. Tyler Davis, one of their tight ends. Linebacker Christian Welch. As far as their free agent signings, not a ton. Josh Jacobs, running back, and then Xavier McKinney, safety. As far as their big free agent losses, Aaron Jones was released. David Bakhtiari was released. Jonathan Owens, a safety, was released. John Runyan, another one on the offensive line, released. And safety Darnell Savage was also released. So they lost a few. They did re-sign a couple guys, like I said, with Nixon, A.J. Dillon, Corey Ballantyne, Tyler Davis, and Christian Welts. Those were all signed, but kind of I guess you could say a push for them as far as their players they retained and players they released. Let's see, Minnesota, 7-10 record. Top re-signings were Jonathan Billiard, wide receiver Brandon Powell, tackled David Quisenberry, guard Blake Benald, and tight end Johnny Munt. And then as far as the free agent additions, Sam Darnold, quarterback, I know we mentioned him earlier. Linebacker Jonathan Greenlard, linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel, running back Aaron Jones, linebacker Blake Cashman, defensive lineman Jerry Tiller, and then wide receiver Trent Sheffield. And then their big losses, we all know Kirk Cousin, Donnell Hunter, but another linebacker, Jordan Hicks, in Detroit Lion defensive end, Demarcus Davenport, running back, Alexander Mattins, released. And then the Chicago Bears, a little bit of a change here. There, as far as the re-signings, not a ton. Defensive back Jalen Johnson, we all know he got the big deal. And then long snapper Patrick Scales. They're free agent additions. Now, this is where they kind of mirror Detroit and that they brought in more than a few people. Wide receiver Allen, the trade with the Chargers. Swift, we all know him, the running back from, was with Detroit, then went to Philly. Safety Kevin Byard. Center Ryan Bates but that was a trade. I want to be clear on that. Tight end Gerald Everett, safety Jonathan Owens, offensive lineman, I should say, Coleman Shelton, linebacker Amen. Oh boy, I'm gonna kill this last name. Oben Gatamania. Offensive lineman Matt Pryor, quarterback Brent Rippon, offensive lineman Jake Crennan, and then offensive lineman Sheldon. Free agent losses, not a ton here. They're going to have basically the same team they had last year with just a few exceptions, and then obviously some variations. We all know they did lose, or I should say trade Justin Fields yesterday, but they're also going to have lost Money, a wide receiver, Jones, defensive tackle, and then Eddie Jackson was released. So there's your quick breakdown on who shaked and who baked on each teams. Let's get your guys' thoughts. So what do you think? NFC North, has it come down to a two-team race between Green Bay and Detroit? I guess that'll be a big question of who the Bears take at quarterback, and does that quarterback really supersede expectations? Is it a rookie who just comes in and does well from day one? My anticipation, you got a new quarterback in Chicago. Whether the rookie's playing from day one or whether or not it's Darnold, it's probably going to take time for either guy to kind of get their feet wet in the systems. I just don't foresee where they're going to play both of them. Probably a ton in the preseason. Maybe I'm wrong with that. Maybe they'll do the anti-Lions thing. Maybe they'll play them both just to give them a lot of experience. But either way, I think the first few games of the season are going to be a test for somebody. Where Detroit, since you have so many players back and the same coordinators, I'm thinking it's Detroit should hum fairly easy or should do fairly well early in the season, where some of the other teams may struggle, like Chicago or Minnesota, just as they're getting new people worked in. Green Bay, though, that shouldn't be the case. They should be ready to go. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. All right, Michael Green, salutations, coach and Duke crew, exclamation points. Woo! The first woo of the morning. JDC, morning all, morning to you. Hopefully you're having a great one. Bo, what do you got? Good Sunday morning, Duke crew, exclamation point. You may be the best person in the league. All right, if you don't win a championship, something is missing. Terrell Davis, there you go. Hey, I think we're in a real good spot to win the North. I think, yes, it's probably going to come down to two teams. Who knows? Maybe Chicago or Minnesota makes it interesting. But I do think it's going to be Detroit versus Green Bay. And I'm really liking the more and more that Detroit does things, I'm really liking our opportunity this year. Now, we still got the draft to go. I know that's going to bring up some debates from everybody in the chat. Where do we go in the first round, second round, etc.? Let's wait and see what you guys have to say on it. All right, Michael, in your opinion, Chicago Bears made a mistake by trading Fields for a sixth-round pick. They should have built the team around Fields. I agree. I mean, I've made that very clear for, seemingly for a few months now. I would have kept him. I like the guy. I think he's a matchup problem. I think he's progressed as a quarterback as far as a passer, but you can't coach what he can do. You can't teach it, and man, he can do it so well. Well, I mean, all that being said, I'm assuming it's Caleb Williams they're going to draft. I'm a USC fan, so I've watched him a ton. I think he's pretty legit. I think he's pretty sound. I also think this, evaluating and risking on a quarterback position in the NFL draft is about the biggest crapshoot in all pro sports. It doesn't matter what I think. It matters what somebody goes out and proves that they can do. I think Caleb Williams is going to be pretty special. I think the Bears probably ultimately made the right move, but I don't know that. And I just think we know what Justin Fields is. And I think we all know what the Bears realistically would get for the number one pick if they traded it. And I believe you could have just built this team up incredibly good. As a Lions fan, selfishly, I'm happy about it. But other than that, a bit of a head scratcher to me. All right, Michael, they did us a favor. Fields had our number. Yeah, we struggle with mobile quarterbacks. We all get it. And he is incredibly mobile. All right, Lions fan number one. Greetings, salutations all. I agree with you, Michael. I would have either traded the pick for more picks or taken Harrison Jr. Yeah, I guess if you didn't get a good haul, maybe that's the play you go. That offense, I mean, Justin Fields going to do something with that. I mean, they've got some weapons now in Chicago. And if you add in someone like Harrison Jr., yeah, they'd be pretty intimidating. All right, Bo, what do you got? The Bears are doing Bear things. They still don't have a decent line. No, and that's also, if you're the Bears, you keep Justin Fields, in my opinion. You trade, I mean, whatever you get. Maybe you just trade back and pick up a bunch of, seconds, a couple firsts, whatever. I had been working on that offense line just for that reason. All right, just say, Kate, good morning, all. Not sure how anyone else feels about Fields, but I wish we would have traded for him. I could only imagine with our O-line, running game, and receivers, how he would look in Detroit. No, I've thought about that many times. This offensive line with that running game and that passing game, someone like Fields, boy, that's just another weapon that, man, you're already putting a ton of stress on opposing defenses. And now you got to also account for somebody who can take off for 40 to 90 yards on a given play. Oof, that would have been something. Who knows, man? Maybe now that he's in Pittsburgh, maybe Detroit says, hey, you just gave up a 6. We'll give you a third for him. What do you say? Although I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're rolling with Goff for the foreseeable future, whether it's 2 seasons, 3 seasons, or whatever. I'm not trying to say, hey, go away from Goff. I want to be clear on that. All right, Thomas, what is everyone's draft wishes? ? I want a dominant offensive guard to keep our offense the best in football. No, I think, Thomas, I think you're thinking like most Lions fans, and I agree with it. To me, the only question is, in the draft, do we take someone in the first round or the second round? Because I have no doubt one of those 2 picks, we're taking an offensive guard. I know everybody's going to say Jackson Powers Johnson, and the kid's a beast. I just question if he's going to be there at 29. Maybe there's a scenario where we trade up to maybe 16 or 18 to make sure you get him. I mean, I don't think he's going to go before that, but I mean, anything is possible, obviously, in the draft. But if we don't take a guard in the first round, I do think there are a number of targets available to Detroit in the second round. You might have to trade up there, too, to get the one you want. But I do anticipate our starting left guard is probably going to be a rookie this upcoming season. All right, Papa Noel, what do you got? Good morning, all. I would like to see us go after Jackson Powers Johnson in the first round. Keep that offensive line humming. Yeah, I agree with that. Him or somebody like that, I think as long as, I mean, we did have some decent backup play last year. Maybe Scoresdale or one of the other guys continue to elevate, or maybe they surprise and they become the starter, and whoever we bring in is a backup this year. But I think everybody's going to agree keeping that Detroit line strong for the running game, for the passing game. We could see the difference last year when some of them got injured. how it affected Goff and the offense. So, yeah, I'm going to guess you're going to want to continue to invest, especially since it'd be a rookie deal. If you get someone in the first round for 5 years, keep the costs down at that position, put a little bit more youth in there. No, I think we're all going to agree on that one. Burger time. Good morning, Dan, the Duke crew. Exclamation points. No more Fields. Kind of happy. Not going to lie. No, I think a lot of people are feeling that way in Detroit, that, not having to worry about his X factor, I guess you could say. A lot of people are happy about that. And good morning to you, by the way. Clark, good morning, Duke crew. Exclamation point. Hey, all, don't be scared. Hit that subscribe button and like button. Help Coach out. He's on the air every morning for us, and I, for one, are thankful for that. Thanks for that, Clark. Thank you very much for that. And, like I've said many times, I enjoy this being a part of my everyday, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. You guys, hey, you can take shots at me. You can talk about me, or you can talk about the Lions. It doesn't really bother me, as long as you're not rude about it, which I would say it's pretty rare when anybody is rude in this chat. We've got a pretty good crew. I get sometimes the political stuff comes up, but to be fair, it's been a while since that happened, and let's keep it that way, by the way. All right, Thomas, down in Peoples Jones would be awesome on a 5-year rookie contract. I agree. The kid's got all sorts of promise to him. I get, hey, nobody's for certain in the draft, but I would say this: he seems like he's going to be a pretty good prospect. Playing him at guard probably for a season, maybe two, should help him with his growth. You're not going to put him in one-on-one blocking a lot. He's going to be able to help out in blocking, which should help him grow and develop over time. All right, and not put too much pressure on him early. Polar Bear, I am hoping Love will have a second-year slump. There you go, Jordan Love. I hope the Bears will draft the wrong quarterback. It shows some Lions fans how hard it is to draft a quarterback. Vikings are headed to the basement. Yeah, the Vikings are the one. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Did they trade up to get that first round pick to try to move up and get one of the quarterbacks? Because I'm guessing if I'm them, you might have to trade 2 first to move up. It'll be interesting to see what they do. It's also going to be interesting, in my opinion, what Justin Jefferson's going to do. Do you really want to stick around for 2 or 3 years for a rookie to grow? Unless you believe whoever they bring in this year as a rookie is only going to need limited time to develop. If I'm him entering the peak of my career, do I want to go through that? I don't know, man. They're in a tough spot. Jordan Love, it is possible you're going to have a lot of defensive coordinators that now know his tendencies. And I use this phrase all the time, and thank Charles Barkley for it. There's no such thing as a second-year slump. There's the fact that everybody now has film on you. They know how to guard you. And I've always believed in that a lot of times when people struggle their second year, even though it's not his second year, it's the second year starting, a lot of it's just because they know what you like to do and what you don't like. So, food for thought. All right, Marcus, good morning. Greetings and salutations. I heard a rumor the Lions are still interested in trading for Patrick Surtain II. I was talking to somebody, one of the Duke crew last night, texting and everything, and they brought up that very point. Here's my question. If you trade for Patrick Surtain, I'm going to guess most of us agree it's a first-round pick and more that you're giving up to get him. You look at who we have already on the team. Who are you cutting? Because you can't keep everybody at that point. At least I would think not. But that secondary, man, that would be an absolute strength then. But my worry is if you give up that first and assuming second, now you're not getting a Jackson Powers Johnson and, whatever you would have got in the second round. So, I would love to have him. I just question, A, what are you giving up? B, who are you cutting from the team? So let me know your thoughts, though. All right, Jesse, good. Let's see. Greetings, salutations. Anyone think we draft Marshawn Needland in the first round? The Western Michigan University kid. Yeah, if you guys don't know a lot about him, I'm probably aided a little bit now that I'm diving into the NFL draft a little bit more to try to get some stuff ready for you guys. It also, living in Kalamazoo, you hear about him, and let me tell you, the kid is a physical. He's raw. He is something. He's got size. He's got speed. Don't hold me to this. I want to say he was the fastest defensive end at the combine. That sounds right to me. But even if he wasn't, he was up there. Yeah, he's got mass, he's got speed, he's got bend, he's got a lot of stuff. He just has played at a mid-level D1, not a D1 major. So is there probably going to be some, learning curve for him? Absolutely. But I would, I don't know about the first round, but I could see in the second round going for him. I mean, but he is such a physical presence. You might be right. Somebody might take him towards like in the 20s or whatever, or the 30s of the NFL draft. So that's probably a good call on your part. All right, Malcolm, what do you got? Nealon looks like he would be, a physical freak, 100%. Yeah, he's, if you guys, again, if you don't know about him, maybe later today, check him out on YouTube. He's a massive type of person, and somebody that if you gave him, I'm guessing, probably a season or two to season, to grow, yeah, he could be a real fine. Let's see. Silver Server, very, very happy to see Justin Fields go. Bye. Have fun tackling him in Pittsburgh's division. Needless to say, one more time, I'd have kept him and found a way to draft Marvin Harrison. Unstoppable offense. Yeah, I'm with you. I think we think alike on that part. I guess if you don't trade that number one pick, you could have just taken Harrison Jr. with the number one pick overall. Anthony, good morning, Duke Crew. Super Bowl or bust, exclamation points. Great morning to you, and thank you for all you do to help out the channel and stuff. I appreciate you greatly, man. All right, let's see. Polar Bear, with the first three picks, according to a poll, did fans want offensive line, edge, and cornerback? Addressed in no particular order. Has Brad Holmes done enough at edge? I guess let everybody in the comments section, let Polar Bear know what you think. Has he done enough at the edge with the first three picks? Which order do you put him in? Cornerback, edge, or offensive lineman? Let Polar Bear know. Silver Surfer now with Vildor back. Do not see Tavaria Thomas here. Perhaps medical examination did not go so well. I'm not sure why they didn't sign him. Maybe it just came down to the coaching staff felt they were both fairly similar, but what you have from Vildor just because he's been here, you're familiar with him, and maybe that was basically the tiebreaker. That's pure speculation on my part, though. All right, Doug, what do you got? Good morning, everyone. Yeah, same Silver. I am not sad to see Justin Fields lead the Bears. I just thought they would get way more for him. Yeah, and my guess is they've been trying to trade him for a little bit of time, whether it's a couple weeks or whatever, and there just wasn't a market for him. Is it because people, everybody, a blind man can see that the kid's athletic and run all over the place, but with somebody that runs that much, you are going to have injuries, and you've seen that with him, especially every year you get a little bit older. Those hits, they matter a little bit more. His passing, I thought, has developed. I think he has improved as a passing quarterback. That also being said, it's not his strength yet. It's getting there, so I get you're going to have to pay him whatever it is, $26 million on the fifth-year option. You're going to have to re-sign him if you keep him. So I don't know, man. I'm with you. I would have kept him, but they didn't ask me. Wasn't a market for him. How about that? Thomas, I have watched a lot of edge film and have landed on Jonah Ellis. Yeah, Luther Ellis' son, being a possible under-the-radar gem in the second round. He played injured second half season, super twitched up. Yeah, and I know a couple people have mentioned him because of the ties and correlation to the Detroit Lions. Is it possible, I guess, you go for Jackson Powers Johnson in the first round or someone similar to that, and then second round, maybe Nealon or Ellis in the second? I just wonder if Nealon will make it to the second round, to at least where we're picking, because basically that's a third round pick. The Lions, if they want two of those guys, they're probably going to have to make a trade happen to acquire them both. Boulevard Thomas was just going to play special teams. Okay, yeah. And as far as cornerback room, yeah, I agree with you there. But man, with Vildor back, look at that. Our secondary, that thing is deep. I mean, Vildor, why he can't catch? He's not horrible by any means. You probably just don't want him asking them to pick off passes a lot. But man, that secondary. That thing is deep. All right, Robert G. What do you got? Good morning, Dan and Duke Crew. Back at you. Hopefully, an outstanding morning. Silver Server, Zach Frazier. Get Zach Frazier. Mark my words, he will be great. Wrestling champion in high school, and he went 154-2, and he loves run blocking. No, I know he was about the wrestling background. And I'm a big fan of your offensive linemen and defensive linemen having backgrounds in wrestling. Probably being a homer here when I talk about this. But Jason Babin, and I get most people probably aren't going to know that name. He was a defensive end from Pawpaw, the place I now coach high school basketball at. Played at Western Michigan. I remember he got drafted by the Houston Texans, and I had to go cover his first game. And they sent me down to go cover him, and just because he was a local kid, made it, yada yada, covered it for the paper. And he was I want to say, 2-time heavyweight wrestling champion. And even his rookie year, you could see how impactful those mechanics were on him. And you can go through a laundry list of people, not just one or two people that had played football at a high level, and you could see how much the wrestling stuff helped them out at the lines. Is it impactful in other positions? Probably not as much. Maybe linebacker could be an argument. But as far as your offensive defensive linemen, yeah, just the fact that they can win leverage so readily over other people that aren't expecting it. Yeah, I'm all for you with that on that one, Silver Surfer. I think it is a big factor to consider. And he's no small human being either. He's a pretty good sized dude. All right, Anthony, thank you for all your orders on the Duke Crew t-shirts, exclamation points. Thank you for helping Coach out and promoting the channel. Yeah, guys, thank you. I'm unfortunately, I'm kind of hands off with it. I'm letting Anthony just run with it. I'm trusting him to do it all. And I'll say this, he's done a phenomenal job. Hopefully everybody enjoys the shirts. And I just want to say thank you all for being a part of the Duke Crew. All right, Ed, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. Back at you, Eddie. Hopefully having a good one. Detroit D, greetings and salutations, everyone. Back at you. Hopefully having an outstanding morning, my friend. Answer 14, good morning, Dan and Duke Crew. Mystery what Brad will do in the draft. I can't begin to guess. Exciting times here in Detroit. No, I think you're right on that, Answer 14. I think Brad Holmes wants it to be as difficult for other GMs to really have a strong idea what we're going to do. Right now, I think most of us would concur that we're probably taking an offensive guard at some point. After that, man, I don't know. There's nothing obliviously obvious outside of guard that we need. I get we're all going to speculate defensive end, but do we absolutely need it, or would we like to get another body out there to improve things? I think most fans want somebody, but I don't know if we need it. Linebacker, maybe some depth. Cornerback room, I don't know if he can fit any more in there. Safety, probably another one for depth purposes. Wide receiver, maybe somebody for depth. Running back depth. Quarterback, I just don't know if anything's going to happen there. Tight end, maybe depth. So the point I'm going with this is the majority of the options out there are for depth purposes. It's also why I think there's some potential where the Lions could say, hey, we really only need to hit on 2 or 3 guys here. We may not need 6 or 7 guys this year. We can afford to trade up to get 2 targeted players. I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm just going to say, man, if we pulled a trade up to get 2 very targeted people, offensive guard and defensive end, I think most fans could live with that. All right, Anthony, order now. Yes, I want to say, Anthony said you got to have your orders in by the 23rd. Just FYI. All right, Silver. By the way, Lions need to draft also an offensive tackle, much needed. Yeah, probably get some youth in there for sure. Willard, the draft is going to be pivotal in the Lions winning the division. The Bears and Packers are looking tough. They are. The only thing I would say, Willard, is and who knows, maybe the Bears do get a rookie quarterback that just comes in and does real well. Maybe Sam Darnold. I mean, he is a veteran quarterback. He's no slouch. Maybe he does enough to keep them interesting throughout the season. But I do believe it's going to be a 2-team race, and it's going to be Green Bay versus Detroit. I do think the Lions have done a lot of their targeted moves in free agency to specifically try to limit the offenses of Chicago and more specifically Green Bay. Minnesota, we'll see what happens with them. K-Pop, good morning, all. In your opinion, now the Bears will have a rookie under center. I believe it's us and Green Bay for the division next year. Beyond that, the Bears will be in the running. No, I would agree. If they really do hit on whoever they're going to bring in as a rookie at quarterback, my guess is with Sam Darnold there, probably at least, a quarter to half the season, he's the guy under center. Then maybe after that, they let the rookie go. From that point on, if they've hit on that guy and that guy pans out, because we all know it doesn't always happen, then yeah, the Bears are probably going to be a formidable opponent within the division for a while. And, while could be a decade. Hookadoo, good morning, all. Good morning to you, too. Polar Bear, and they just shared on X. Okay. Yeah, just share on X. There you go. Thaddeus, good morning, Duke crew. Good back at you, my friend. Answer 14, I think the Lions have had similar offseason as last. A couple of bigger impact players and some role players. Davis and Reeder are this year's Sutton and Gardner Johnson. No, I'd say that's a very good comparison there, answer 14. Good job with that one. Bo, what do you got? Skipper is our only backup offensive tackle. Bigger need than OG, offensive guard. I know, I guess I'll look at it this way. Scoresdale last year played tackle and guard. I'm assuming he's going to be better in his second year than he was his first. So a lot of it's going to come down to, do they think he's developing, or some other players? I do think in the draft, especially if we maintain some of our late round picks, you're going to probably see them make a move at an offensive tackle at that point. I guess they could do it earlier, maybe the third round or something. But I do think there's some real potential for us to trade up slightly in either the first or second round to acquire a player of interest. And I can't wait to see how Brad addresses the offensive line in the draft. I think the defense is set. The defense is looking pretty strong, 100%. And yes, I agree that the offensive line, whether it's, somebody who's going to start or start grooming for the future, you're correct on that. And I know a bunch of you guys have mentioned that. Detroit D, breakfast and Lions Talk Live. Woo! Go Lions, 100%. And hopefully having something good for breakfast. I'm going to be enjoying a delicious hot dog from the Circle K. By the way, totally un-Lions related. It's really sad for Bobby and everybody at the Circle K over in Portage on Millam. Got news earlier this week. They're going to be closing that one. And Bobby had been acting kind of sad for a week or so. And so I just had to ask her, man. I was like, man, everything okay? Because she's been through a rough stretch the last year where I know her husband had some sort of knee injury. They went in there to clean it up, and something got messed up bad where he got an infection. And I believe they had to amputate from the knee down. So I didn't know if something else had happened. And she said, no, but we just got word they're closing the place down. There's another convenience store coming in, and I was happy. Like a couple days later, she was pumped up, happy. They're going to reassign her to another local Circle K. So I will have to drive a little further to get my morning dew and hot dog, and glad that her and everybody else there is okay. So, all right, there's my story for the day. All right, John King, Texans and our Lions I like. All right, we don't overpay and put ourselves in a place where we can draft best player we want. Yeah, we do that. We do a good job of that. Or Brad Holmes does a great job of that. We're just being able to take the best player available. We don't have to take someone for need. We leave better players off the board. Yeah, you're spot on. Brad Holmes has done a great job with each draft, just bringing talent. It didn't matter where the talent was, what positions, just talented players. And I really do believe that's going to be the case probably throughout his tenure in Detroit, which doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. All right, Thomas. Rixton said Emek is not a slot corner. He plays on the boundaries, so an outside corner. All right. I'm okay with it as long as he can play. So you just look at all the options we have in the secondary now. And I do believe you're going to see these guys get moved around in all sorts of different spots. Brian Branch is going to probably play facing the quarterback a lot more. So, basically as a safety versus a corner all the time. Probably be used in the blitz. Him and Iffy, I don't know why you wouldn't do that. They did such a great job in the second half of the season with those guys. But to your point, Thomas, yeah, Lions secondary is deep, and they're going to be able to do a lot of different things this upcoming season. Mike, morning. No caffeine necessary this morning, exclamation point. Okay. I just watched highlights of our new defensive guy, Don Peoples-Jones. Is a great signing, only 25 years old. Yeah, he's not old at all. A lot of people from the area are probably familiar with him because he played at the University of Michigan, played at Cleveland. I want to say he played somewhere else too, but don't hold me to that. But yeah, I do think the only downside is I do think Donovan Peoples-Jones signing probably means Josh Reynolds' time here in Detroit is come to a close. And, I get he's done a lot of good things here, but I also get, hey, this is probably his last opportunity to get a bigger contract. He's going to probably try to go out and take care of his family. So, no, I got nothing but good things to say about the guy. All right, Miles Marker, top of the morning to you, ladies and lassies. Best of luck to ye all this snowy day. So, Miles, you got some snow where you're at up north? Let me know. And yeah, yeah, I know it's a little snowy up there, and I know Petoskey has become a location of interest to me. All right, Anthony, thanks, Bear. Yeah, okay, yeah, and Donkey Kong, Super Bowl or bust. Good morning to you, Donkey. Hopefully, having a great one. And indeed, I think at this point, you look at the Lions roster plus whatever we do with the draft. I think you're spot on. I think everybody in the chat, the show, the Lions fandom needs to say, hey, anything less than a trip to the Super Bowl this year is probably going to be a little bit of a disappointment. And it's just crazy letting those words come out of our mouths. But it's true. The Lions need to be in the Super Bowl, or everybody's going to look down this season as probably a missed opportunity. All right, Phil, good morning. Good morning, Phil. And another new Qatar in the photo for Phil. Donkey Kong, Dan, what were you doing last night with that cool shirt on? You were styling. Yes, the shirt, yeah, the jacket and shirt, yeah. So a friend of ours, they have an annual St. Patty's get together. Dude's got a blues band. You know, usually they perform. They did not last night, but they have a cookout and everything, and just hey, everybody hanging out, having a little fun. I did love that shirt though, that jacket. All right, brother Ken, I don't have a problem with the Bears trading Fields. Dude seems to have a soft and weak mentality. Yeah, and I was surprised to your point, brother Ken, when the St. Brown brothers had him on their podcast that he kind of mentioned, hey, Detroit plays dirty, and then mentioned Anzalone. I mean, I get the one hit he's talking about, but you're still in bounds. You are a target, and I get that doesn't like him, but why would you put that out there to be fuel for, you know, assuming you don't get traded? Because now when you play Detroit, you know, twice a year, they get an opportunity. They're going to light you up just a little bit more. Yeah, it's just unfortunately for the kid or all of us, man, when we're younger, hell, man, when we're older, sometimes we say things we don't always live to think we're a great idea when looking back on it. All right, Tim, what do you got? Good morning to Coach and Do Crew, exclamation point. Watched Reader's presser and immediately fell in love with him. Brad Holmes continues to impress. So to your point, Tim, I think you're spot on. And I know we've talked about personality types and how teams should target it more. It doesn't always happen, but I have zero doubts looking at 3 years worth of draft picks from the Detroit Lions. They came in this regime and said, hey, we are not going for amicable personality types. We're not going for expressive personality types. And I won't do a deep dive on that. We'll save that for the GM, the life of a GM video where you have to analyze personality types. But I will say this, the Lions tend to go for alpha or driver personality types and analytical personality types. And there's specific reasons why, from a sports or even business standpoint, you would want to target those people and not target the others. Different career paths, you do want to target other personality types. But Tim, you're 100% on when you talk about Reader's presser, when you talk about Davis's presser. You see a lot of similarities between these guys. Now compare them to your Penei Sewells or Amon-Ra St. Browns. If you would have asked me about Jared Goff prior to his time in Detroit, I would have said it's not a personality type I would endear. But now that he's been here a little while, you can see where the jiltedness of the trade has probably worn off and how that's made him grow and change a little bit from a personality standpoint. I do see more evidence of why you'd want to retain Jared Goff now. Phil, I'd get a head coach if I was the Bears. Yeah, I was surprised he was kept this year, but you know what? Hey, if he doesn't do something this year, he's probably under the gun. Answer 14, I'm still on pins and needles over what we do in the draft. Can't wait. No, and what are we, a month away? Somewhere like that? I mean, it's right around a month. All right, Ed, how much work will DJ Reader doing in training camp and preseason game? Should they take it easy on him? I'm believing, yeah, they probably will. A lot of the starters, I don't expect to get many reps, maybe like a drive or something like that, but they're all going to do that in the regular season. As far as Reader, I mean, he's a vet. He doesn't need a whole lot of get up and go time. So, yeah, I wouldn't say this, Ed. I'm expecting he will not play a single snap until it's the regular season. All right, Anthony, the Bears sure are putting all their faith in an unproven QB in the NFL. Shake my head. They are. And you know what? they're going to boom or they're going to bust with that. The people 5 years from now will look back and say, this is the moment we failed, or this is the moment we rose to the occasion. And man, we really picked the right guy. So one of those two things will happen in the upcoming years. All right, answer 14, hit that like button, everyone. Yes, please. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Also, hit that thumbs up button thingy. All right, Silver Surfer, if you are here talking or listening, you should hit the like. Come on. If you don't like it, what are you here for? Thumbs up. Yes, and hopefully everybody likes it. Anthony, get your Duke Crew t-shirts now. Help support the channel. Yes, talk to Anthony about the shirts. All right, and thanks, Anthony. Brother Ken, Fields immediately started crying. I hate the cold weather. I don't like snow. Wow. Yeah, now he's going to Pittsburgh. It ain't going to get any better for him. Maybe not as windy, but yeah, that's about it. John King, Bears probably traded a better quarterback than they will draft. I think there's some real possibility of that. We'll see what comes to fruition, but I would not have made the move, but they didn't ask me. All right, Ed, goodbye, Fields. Whatever rookie quarterback is going to have a rough time. We've had our fair share of throwing quarterbacks straight out of college on the field. The North is tough. We're the king of the North. No, I agree. I think Green Bay and us, whoever is under center for Chicago, they're probably going to see a lot of heat coming after them over and over again. I get Sam Darnold if he's the starter. Hey, he's been there, he's done that, he's seen it. But I'm also not worried about Sam Darnold, shaking and baking and taking off for 90 yards down the sideline either. So there is that aspect. All right, Anthony, now with the re-signing of Peoples-Jones, you're a fat green Reynolds is gone. All right, fair enough. Reynolds will be gone. All right, Brother Ken, CJ Johnson was addition by subtraction. If you are going to run your mouth, you better back it up. His brain was in neutral and his mouth was in overdrive. Yeah, I think to your point, I know a lot of Lions fans have talked about some of his, emotional outbursts, his commentary. I think ultimately at the end of the day, that's one of the reasons why they probably elected to go in a different direction. He was the asterisk to everybody else's rule. And I think from a personality standpoint, the Lions just wanted to have other options and opportunities there in the safety position. And they figuring G's talk and text. Yeah, no worries, man. Talk and text gets us all, man. Same with spell check. All right, Silver Server, Sutton, Davis, Robertson, Mosley, Branch, Vildor, Dorsey, Stephen Gilmore, and there is another one. That makes 9 cornerbacks. I believe Branch will play reserve safety. Yeah, I concur with that. So will they only get one more, not 2. So let's assume for the sake of discussion, you basically move Branch to a safety spot on the depth chart. Not meaning that he'll only play there, but that leaves you with 8 corners. That's a lot. Most teams carry, 5 or 6. So yeah, more than likely, I'm thinking 1 or 2 of these guys are going to also play safety, at least if nothing changes right now. And I think they can do it. I wouldn't be surprised if, say, Gilmore started playing some free safety and Branch maybe some strong safety. Maybe that's how you keep everybody and not have to worry or focus so much on the safety position. That also means you got a ton of dudes out there that can play man-to-man across the board. I think we all get that Branch is basically a safety who plays slot, and they can tackle. So Iffy, Kirby, Branch, and then maybe Gilmore are your safeties, and you can cycle them all through. You can play them half corner. You can play them as a safety. So they're going to have some real fun out there, and I think they're going to be able to lock people up while blitzing a lot. All right, Don, Bears only have 4 draft picks left. Hey, they've made some moves. They've worked on the team, but they got some high draft picks. Maybe they'd make some trades still. All right, Silver, good morning, Coach. Good morning to you, too. I hope you have a good one there, Surfer. Anthony, it's probably best Fields went to the Steelers after his comments on the Brown Brothers show. Yeah, podcast. Yeah, I agree. He would have been a target for sure. Ed, I'm assuming that Brad does pick at 29. I'd like him to get an O lineman. What position would you address if you were GM? Me, offensive lineman would be first and foremost. I'd go after them without question. Try to get something happening. Maybe Jackson Powers Johnson or somebody else. I know there's a lot of options there this year for the Detroit Lions as far as offensive line. As far as after that, it's probably going to be just depth across the board. I know we've talked about Offensive tackle, I know we've talked about end. You could get a backup safety, maybe a kicker, uh, wide receiver. You could just basically add depth everywhere on the team and try to keep some costs down at some positions while also grooming some future players. Matthew, greetings and salutations. Good morning, everyone. Back at you, Matthew. Hopefully, you have a great one. Brother Ken, one overlooked re-signing was Scott Daly. Yes, the long snapper. Look at all of his games. That has been lost because of an accurate long snapper. Yeah. And you see it across the league where if you don't have somebody quality at that position, how it affects things. And I think you're right, Ken. Retaining him was a nice move for the Detroit Lions. And again, keeping continuity, keeping familiarity, keep things going forward. The Lions, they really have not altered much from last year's team, and they're making a lot of additions to it. So I'm looking this way. Last year's team is going into this season almost completely unchanged, but should be a lot better at some key spots. Thomas, Ed, definitely a stud offensive guard. Yeah, agreed. Don, I rewatched the woo walking my family. Okay, there you go. Woo! All right, there you go, Don. Surfer, heard Marcus Davenport. That dude is a philosopher. Yep, I like him. Every team needs a philosopher. Yeah, and you know what? He's got some real upside too. He could. I know I've talked about James Houston being the starting opposite end. I think there's potential bets, or Davenport could be it too. It's just I'm a little bit of a homer when it comes to Houston. I just think he's incredibly rare at what he does. I'm putting him out there, but that's me. They don't ask me. Burger time. NFC North is ours. Bears rookie quarterback. Vikings Sam Darnold. Packers Love isn't Rodgers. Lions unfinished business. To your point, and I know everybody's going to talk about it as we get closer to the season, if Jordan Love does have any kind of regression, or maybe teams just get more and more film on him where they can scheme for him better, his tendencies. If he's not sound, the Bears rookie or quarterback situation isn't great, and who knows what's happening with the Vikings. Maybe the Lions can really make a strong push in the North and establish a big lead early in the division. We'll have to wait and see. Brother Ken, I want to see the Lions beat the brakes off the Packers. Run up the score like 73-0. Man, that would be something. That would be some fuel to the fire. Ed, at Thomas, Brad will like Zach from Michigan. Brad likes players with injuries, and Zach has time to heal with the guards we have already. Yeah, agreed. And he does seem to gamble a lot on people that need a recovery time. Retired Fire, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew. Reader is a brick wall up front, exclamation point. Bay City Rick, all right? And you're right. I do wonder, is it possible that, the Lions still go for Sweat, the defensive tackle, the massive defensive tackle from Texas? You get him out there with Broderick Martin and then DJ, boy, and then Ali McNeil too. Man, that interior defensive line, that would be a stone wall for other teams. All right, one funky. Caleb Williams and Ryan Leaf has Ryan Leaf vibes. Should have held on to Fields even if the plan was to draft Caleb. I do get that a little bit with some of his personality traits. I get it. I'm just hoping, and maybe it's because I'm a USC guy, that he pans out. But I hope he fails every week against the Detroit Lions. Maybe I should just say that. Brandon, did you hear that Greeny said, what he said about our windows closed? I did. I get it. He said, and I think somebody else said that they think the Packers have supplanted us, gone beyond us. We'll wait and see, man. But I just think, both games with the Packers, well, the first game we won fairly easily. I get they made that third quarter run against us to make it interesting. Then we pulled away late. I also think the game we lost to them, in my opinion, a lot of it has to do with the defense and the coaching on that game. I know I talked about it a lot last year about why in the heck would you have Tracy Walker as your deep cover safety when that dude can't cover anything. And it's nothing against Tracy Walker. I like him. I think he's an outstanding person. I think he would be a phenomenal weak side linebacker if you could add about 10 pounds to him. But, you're in the secondary and you can't cover, and you're going to leave him in single high coverage on the opening play of the game and try to blitz Kirby Joseph. I put a lot of that game, the loss, on the coaching staff. And the second half, I get they cleaned things up. We looked pretty good. It's just that first half, as we all probably remember, was abysmal. All right, Doug, what do you got? We have a couple of choices. Keep our picks if things fall our way, or trade with Carolina. There you go. 29 and 61 and 73 for 33, 39, and 101. Get a stud offensive line and edge. We are flexible depending on our board. Yeah, I think there will be a lot of opportunities that the Lions could look into, because we don't really have huge needs. We have some targets we'd like to move up and get, maybe help us out. But to your point, the offensive line question mark, I know we all have. I think, so your point, Doug, at 33, 39, could you get a starter? Absolutely. I think in this year's draft. As far as offensive line, you could probably get somebody who would have a real opportunity to get into the rotation, maybe even start at defensive edge at that point. All right, Lynn Insider, Caleb is poor at reading a D. May is the better quarterback. I hope the Bears take Williams. A great mistake. You know, there's going to be a lot of people that talk about that. And I haven't done enough deep dive on either one of them to have a sound opinion. I'm just going to assume they take Caleb Williams because of the pure pressure of it all. And the fact that if he does pan out, he could be something pretty decent, especially if he matures from a personality standpoint. Man, the Bears at this point, they're in a tough spot because everybody knows they're going to have to take a quarterback. The trade value for that number one pick is probably diminished exponentially, unless they're going to really go off rails and say, hey, we're going to try to take one at number 9 or something like that. All right, Surfer, what do you got? Fields could play halfback in a heartbeat, and he would be a great one. I mean, he's got some real power and wheels. We'll see what the Pittsburgh Steelers choose to do with him, and now their quarterback dilemma with him and Russ Wilson. All right, Doug, rather have 2 stud players than 3 medium players. Get future wide receiver or cornerback in 4th, other in the 5th, safety, D-line, kicker. Yeah, I'm with you. I would probably make some trades if it was me. Now that our situation's kind of revealed itself as far as the team, I'd probably go after 2 very targeted players in the 1st and 2nd round, or something like that. I want 2 guys that I feel very much as a general manager. These guys are in it to win it right away. We're not going to need time to groom them. Then maybe in the later rounds, pick a kicker, like you say, or maybe some depth parts. Retired Fire, a bulldozer with a plow, monster at guard. Yeah, I think that's probably where we're going with it. Answer 14, Anthony, how do I contact you for a shirt? All right, I'll let Anthony respond to that one. Doug, if Ragnow goes down, we are hurt. We played with Jonah Jackson, who was a 3rd rounder. Goff needs to be standing. Yes, Goff. Yeah, we get it. If Goff goes down often, yeah, it's not going to be good for this entire offense nor the team. Retired Fire, move Broderick over to monster guard. All right, there you go. Moving to the offensive line. Maybe that'll work. Brother Ken, one funky. I was living in San Diego when Bobby Beathard drafted Ryan Leaf. Him and his father gave off some serious diva vibes. Most of us said we should have drafted Manning. Yeah, I get it. And I'll say this, Ryan Leaf is, man, what a story from his rise into the NFL draft to his huge fall to going to a prison. And now he's really changed his life around. I give him nothing but props for what he's done with his life since the downfall, from being addicted to painkillers and everything else and some of the other stuff he did to kind of hurt himself. But the guys really changed around what they could have been, or what the Chargers could have been if they drafted differently. Hey, it happens, man. Man, Bear, greetings, salutations to the crew. Back at you. Hopefully you're having a great one. Doug, pay Goff what he's worth. When our offensive line is a top 1 in the league, we can get a really good lineman, or we could trade up, exclamation points. If that special guy is a special guy like Sewell is still there, you need you see what you have like what's having like. Yep. I do think there's a possibility we make a trade up in the 1st round to try to get somebody. It's just who they target and what they have to give up to get them, if that plays out. One funky, Ken, Ryan had all the tools, just lacked the mental capacity. I would agree with that. Some things I've seen out of Caleb makes me see the same things. Yeah. And hey, if Caleb busts, then that helps the Lions, because that will set the Bears back for a while. Big D, guys, exclamation point. We have 2 starting cornerbacks already. Don't need Surtain. We are sitting good. Yeah, I would say, man, we're pretty dang good at cornerback at this point. We may not have somebody at Surtain's level, but me personally, I just don't see us making that trade because what you would have to give up to get him, I'm assuming, is 2 first-round picks, and that doesn't seem like a big Brad Holmes move there. But I've been wrong many times. It's 14. Nealon is a beast. He is a very physical beast. I think he's going to need some time to kind of be groomed and developed. But yeah, you can't teach what he has. Doug, a great number. One edge will make our DBs good enough. Exclamation point. This year also we have Iffy ready to be back to be a star back there, and Branch breaking out. I can see our backfield really representing. No, I think the secondary is going to be vastly improved over a year ago. But I also think some of that is because you look at the type of guys we have, and especially, I know I mentioned it, the wingspan, the radiuses, their ability to cover man. I'm led to believe we're going to see a whole lot more aggressive defense than sort of like we did towards the end of last year and the majority of the season prior. I think we're going after teams. We're going to say, hey, you might get some yards on us here and there, but we're going to force you into some mistakes over time. And I'm okay with it because I hate passive defenses. I'd rather get burned on somebody making a play down the sideline on us than just letting people dink and dunk against us. Go get some hits on those running backs and quarterbacks. Brother Ken, one funky, I totally agree. Leaf reminds me of Chef George. $1 million body, 10-cent head. Yeah, that's probably a great comparison there. Doug, Brad is looking at his ideal Lion culture board. He's looking at trade values and what other teams are looking for. Teams know he will make the trades, moving up and down. Free agent made us flexible to cook. Yeah, I'd say you're spot on with that. Trump's, woo! There you go, man. Bo, what do you got? Rodrigo was a wrestler. He was, yeah. And you could see it in how he plays and performs, how he positions things, does it instinctively. Doug, moving our third rounder, 73, to move up to an early second rounder, and the right player is still there. Brad is playing with the draft board, and he's ready. No, I agree. Brad's going to do whatever he can to get some guys that he wants. The only thing I would say in that scenario, we trade up, say, higher in the second round, he's probably going to try to get a seventh round pick in return for it too, just to have the same amount of picks. Mike the Marine, howdy Dan, Lions Fable, back at you. Brother Ken, Utah's Jonah Ellis looks like a stud. However, at 6'2", 240 pounds, he's probably at the bulk up some more. He's going to get overpowered by some O-linemen. All right, we'll go with that. Retired Fire, Reader played baseball, first base. I did not know that. Thank you for that. Maybe he's got some glove work, man, and a little bit of range. Good for him, man. Anthony, answer 14, coach, has to put my contact information in here in the messages. All right, hold on. I got you. Let's go ahead and do this so I get it out of the way. Here is Anthony's contact information. Bada bing. All right, I think I put it in there. Did I put it in there? Did it go in there? It did not go in there. All right, hold on a second, guys. I'm hustling. Bada bing. All right, there you go. All right, now it's in there. Sorry about that, guys. All right, let me get back to where I was, or at least try to get close to it. All right, Trump's woo, Rodriguez wrestler, played first base. All right, there we go. All right, Doug, wouldn't it be something day 2 of the draft in Detroit if the Lions have Carolina's pick 33, day 2, number 1, and 39, day 2, number 6, rather have these than Carolina's pick 100 offensive lineman and edge? Yeah, could they make that trade 100%? Retired Fire Anthony, how forward contact info? I just put it in the chat, Retired Fire, so you should be able to see it. Angie, thank you, Dan. I enjoy your show anytime, man. I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're a part of the Duke crew. All right, Joseph Green, salutations, Dan and Duke crew, exclamation point. Hope all is well this morning. Go Lions, one pride, baby. Woo! 100%. And Joseph, hopefully you're having a great one. BD Buster, would you bring back Evan Brown? Would I? Yeah, I thought he'd be a good depth piece. Maybe you can get him even a couple starts, but I'd have no problem with it. And to come down to a lot of it is contract demands. Gary, don't corners take a while to get comfortable? Yeah, they usually take a season or two for sure. Broski Bear, Great day to the Bears fans. All right. Great day to be a Bears fan. So, Broski, how do you feel about the Justin Fields trade? Is that something you were okay with or not? As a Bears fan, let us know. Gary, good morning, Dan. Good morning to you, Gary. Have a good one. Bo, Superdome or bust. Light dusting here for snow. There you go. One funky, Broski, why? 9 drinks. This is Josh Reynolds, 3 drops in a row. Oh, I see what you're doing there. 9 drinks. Ouch. Broski, Fields out of here. Exclamation point. Time to bring in a real quarterback. All right, so you're ready to move on. One funky, are you sure and or confident they can get one in the draft? Oh, that's what they're going to hope at this point. Polar Bear Reader is going to open up holes for Jack Campbell to get sacks. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see all the impacts Reader presents, not just the linebackers, but the other defensive linemen. Yeah, he's going to be a massive win I'm anticipating for the Lions. All right, Lynn Insider, Caleb Williams, 31 fumbles in 30 career college games. Improvises a lot and scrambles a lot because he can't find receivers. Won't work as well in the NFL. To your point, because we talked about Ryan Leaf earlier, I don't remember where he was at. I think he was co-hosting or whatever for one of the national channels. And he said he's got some real concerns about Caleb Williams. He said a lot of what he got away with in college does not translate to the NFL. And then was it the Dan Patrick show where that happened? And then, I can't remember the other guy. His name, Phil Simpson, whatever, lit him up saying, oh, man, you're completely wrong. This guy's going to be great and everything. So 2 people can look at the same quarterback and see vastly different things. I will say this for Ryan Leaf. I do get some of his trepidation when it comes to Williams. I do see where some things might be a little bit of a learning opportunity for him. But I think if you can clean that up in a season or 2, he could be something very special. Anthony, good morning. Joseph, Doug, no Evan Brown. He will want too much. Yeah, you're going to have to get him on a cheap contract to bring him back. He will want too much and was penalty machine. Flexible, but I'd rather have future guard center in the draft. Yeah, I'll go with that. Broski, yes, funky. Gary, Packers is going to be trouble this year, but we still better. No, I would agree. I think our secondary is vastly improved. Broski, I wanted Bears to trade Fields and trade the number 1 pick. I guess they could still do it. They can still trade number 1. It just comes down to what you would get because I think most teams know your hand's been played a little bit at this point. All right, one funky. Good luck, Broski. I would have kept him this year and then wanted to draft a kid personally. Yeah, I'll go with that. Arthur Allen, what do you got? I think we should draft Kool-Aid in the first round. I wonder if I think there's a real good possibility he falls to the late first round, maybe the second round because of his foot injury. Liddell, keep in mind, bad as Bears was, they should have swept us. They should have, and that's hopefully something we've corrected this offseason. Broski, Fields isn't even an average quarterback. All right, I'll go with that. He's above average at one particular thing, maybe even great. All right, J. Rod, good morning, Coach Duke Crew. At Mile, got snow here in northern Muskegon County as well. Well, down here in Kalamazoo, it's no snow here yet. All right, Ludell, Fields not as bad as needs weapons around him. Yeah, and they've added some weapons. They could add some more, too, with the draft. Mike, last 10 seasons, NFC North, Packers 7 winning records, Lions 5, Vikings 4, Bears 1. I would not have guessed that. Thank you for that, Mike. Yeah, I would not have guessed that. Gary, first time here. Great show. Glad you're enjoying it, man. Sorry that my throat's a little dry and crackling a little bit, but glad to have you a part of the Duke Crew. All right, Doug, Sutton is not guaranteed to beat out some of these others just because we are paying him. No, I agree. Everybody's going to have to earn their spot. I just think Sutton, now that he's not going to be used as the number 1 corner and, that turf toe hopefully is healed up for him. I just think he'll be a pretty good fit as a number 3 or so. But with that also being said, you got Davis, you got Robertson, you got Mosley, you got Branch. Vildor. You've got a ton of guys across the board. Sutton that are going to be fighting for field time and snaps. So good for them, man. Hey, I like it when people have to compete to get something. All right, Doug, let the best ride, a.k.a. Branch and Laporta. Yeah, they'll go. Rise, excuse me. Yeah, they'll be fine. Liddell, Wilson and Fields in Pittsburgh, I like the fit for them both. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle all that. But Russ Wilson, you're not even paying him $2 million to be there. Denver's having to eat the rest of that. One Funky Broski, I'm not a Fields fan. I was calling him busting before the draft, but moving him when they did makes little sense to me. That's the life of a GM, man. All right, Taylor Made. Keep in mind that Chicago has a lot of off-field distractions, especially for its starting quarterback. They do 100%, and I think that they're going to have to find their footing pretty quick to stay relevant in the NFC North. All right, J. Rod. Whoops. Good morning, Coach and Duke crew. Off the top of the morning, all LOL. Miles got snow here in northern Muskegon County. Just started around 7-ish. Well, enjoy the snow. I can't imagine there's too many more in this season. Al, in your opinion, based on all the moves the teams made the NFC North, how would you rate the strongest weakness so far prior to the draft? I'll go with Lions 1, Packers 2, Chicago 3, and then Minnesota 4 at this time at least. But draft can change things. Liddell, Packers scare me. They should, man. I mean, they're pretty legit. JK, good morning, mister. Good morning to you, too. Hopefully having a great one. Liddell, Jordan Love is a beast with upcoming weapons. They are growing, developing, and you know what? You're going to have to face them and stop them. All right, Tim, now with Reader stuffing running backs, opposing offenses will likely face more third and longs, blitzing, and man-to-man sounds like fun to me. No, I think that's exactly where they're going with it, Tim. I think they're going to try to generate a lot of pressure on people and shoot gaps going after the running backs, etc. So I'm all for it, man. Doug, Green Bay has 2 seconds and 2 seconds and 2/3. They do. They can add a lot of stuff. Broski, what's all the Lions and Stephen Gilmore talk recently? Lions haven't signed. Not Stephen Gilmore. His brother, who's with Detroit. Gosh, I can't remember his first name, but you guys get it. Iceberg Slim, man. Talk about a Bears fan. Dan, the Dew Man. Yes, it is. And hopefully having a good one. Iceberg, good to always see you in the chat, man. Liddell, we should have been against playing Hooker if he outplays Goff. Bears are taking a chance. We should too. Yeah, I would say this. I have no doubt if Hooker just comes out and the coaching staff says, hey, this guy's just flat out better, it'd be no different than any other position. I just don't think the coaches, especially being former players, they're going to go with whoever they feel at any position is the best player out there. All right, guys, it's been an hour and 7 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and go hit the gym, go hit the Circle K, and then get into the workday. So if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so, making that push to get to 6,100. And at least at the start of the show, we were like 14 or something like that subs away. So if you would be so kind, hit the subscribe button. Also, hit that like button if you enjoyed the show. Otherwise, if there's some breaking news later today, I'll try to get on the mic to you. And we'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.